All right, the way we'll proceed as we've proceeded in the past, the select board will make a motion on a figure. We will have a second, and we'll have at that point, have conversation about it. If there's questions from the advisory board, we'll take them at that time. We will take all the questions that you want to ask. We have gone over this last week, so if you were here or you're on Zoom, we went over it. Hopefully, if you have more questions, we can answer them. This has been updated, so it's current. And then what we'll do is we'll send it to the advisory board chairman, which we'll elect in a second, to have the advisory board vote. All right, any questions, any comments? All right, so what I will do now is I will take nominations for, I'll take nominations for a advisory board chairperson. You notice I said person. Any nominations?
I nominate Jackie Shen.
All right,
Second.
second. Any other nominations?
Move nomination cease.
Quickly, I'm Floyd.
Pretty good,
We have a second to that? All right, we have a second to that, nomination ceasing? We need a second. Okay, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to cease nominations. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. We will, next is the vote for the chairman, for Mr. Duchamp. All those in favor? All in favor? Except for one, Mr. Duchamp, are you voting yes?
I'm opposed.
Okay, all right, we elect Mr. Duchamp as the chairman. So before we do get started, we have an updated schedule that the town manager, I think, has passed out to everybody. It's got a bunch of other dates on there. We'll see what we need. If we don't need them, we won't use them. Just wanted to kind of give you an idea of where we're heading. And we'll talk about when the next meeting is going to be. All right, so first order of business is the general government administration, and it is on the first page all the way to the third page to about almost to the bottom of the page. All right, so the town manager is recommending $855,637.26. So I hear a motion from the board. Yeah.
May I make just a statement before we start in this, and I apologize for not saying this earlier. Heidi helped me to get the correct numbers for the health insurance. So that is, the health insurance numbers are updated in the packet that I gave you tonight. So in some cases it's lower, and I think, yeah, in all cases I think it's lower, except for the one case in administration where it was like $1,000 more.
All right, so looking for the select board motion as to what you would like to do. Yep.
Make a motion to support the $855,637.26 for government administration.
All right, we have a motion and a second to send to town meeting and the government administration $855,637.26. All right, any questions? Yes.
Workman's comp on admin, you lowered it quite a bit, but everybody's wage is going up. We didn't have a discount in admin this year, we only had a discount in highway.
Did I?
I think that number's gonna probably be pretty much close to what it was last year.
Okay,
Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier.
okay.
Thank you, Sean.
We're gonna go 2110.
2110 in admin, so we'll add 20, all right, let me get my calculator here. My apologies.
1335.
Minus 775 plus 2110. So the new number should be 856,972.26.
All right.
Using fiscal 25's workers' comp number.
Can you repeat that, please?
856, 972.26.
Thank you.
Alright, so we're looking, pull back to second, pull back, okay, so we need a motion, Mr.
Make a motion to, $856,972.26 into general government administration.
I'll second that.
Alright, we have a motion and a second to put $856,972.26 to send to town meeting under general government administration. Any other questions? Any other, yes, Mr. Randy? Mr. Bliss, I'm sorry.
I know we had talked about, the office going to 10 hours a day. Did that get cut off? 'Cause I don't see an extra 208 hours on that.
We're going to talk about that on the 14th, but the plan is not to add anything.
Okay.
The plan is not to add anything, so it would be looking, if we do it, it would look like a 4-day week for the office. That's
Same number of hours.
same number of hours,
All right.
if we do it. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those on the select board in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Duchamp?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You've heard the Board of Selectmen's motion. What would you like to do on general government, total general government?
I move 856, 972.26.
There's a motion for $856,972.26. Do we have a second? Second? We have a second. Any comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand. All in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Duchamp.
Yes, sir.
So while we get along, it's not like you're in Augusta. Oh, whoops, sorry. All right, we are gonna skip for tonight, public safety. We will get back to that. We have a couple things we have to work out in public safety. We're gonna move down to public utilities, which is on page 5, at the bottom of page 5. We'll get back, we'll let you know when we get back to public safety, probably in another week or two. All right, public utilities, the town manager is recommending $650,000 for that. Motion from the board?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve and send to town meeting $650,000 for public utilities. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Duchamp?
Yes, Chairman Menziano. You heard the Board of Selectmen have approved $650,000 in total utilities. What's your pleasure?
I'm going to accept the $650,000 for public utilities.
There's a motion to accept the $650,000 for public utilities.
Second.
And a second. Do we have any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor? No opposed.
Thank you, Mr. Duchamp.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move down to public works. And public works, and remember, we're just talking about the actual budget, and the road commissioner is here, he can answer questions for us. We are looking at a total on page 5,
Page 7.
page 7, I'm sorry, public works. Excuse me, of $901,815.42. Looking for a motion from the board.
I'll make a motion for the $901,852.42.
850.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve and send to town meeting $901,815.42 for public works. Mr. Road Commissioner, would you like to, any highlights, anything?
Yeah, I'd like to have a little discussion on the East Madison Fire Station. We had to end up contracting that out this year, as you well know, and Denise and I have discussed about moving that and breaking that down into 2 parts. I'd honestly like to see it stay in the fire department, under the snow plowing contract. It was for $3,500. That was kind of a guesstimate ballpark figure estimated on 20 storms and what it cost to plow over there. I guess it, you know, I'd like to see it stay in the fire department, but I guess that's your call. Denise?
I do, so that, there's nothing in there for that yet.
There
Right.
is, at the top of the page, yeah, it's
It's
an empty number, because we're still waiting on the bill from Chris Roy for this season of what he did to plow for East Madison Fire Station.
I mean, I don't disagree with the road commissioner. I don't see why, what would be the difference.
Well, the difference is it's a public, it's a town building, and the highway department plows all the other town facilities. And for consistency purposes, I think it should be with the plowing crew or the highway crew to be responsible for that.
So, in the past, how's that, just explain to us how that was in the past, okay? This year was been different because whoever was doing it, I can't, was it Danny?
Yes, it was, yeah, it was Danny. He did it for $500 for years.
Right,
And he just decided that for liability purposes that he did not want to do it anymore. So Denise and I had talked back earlier in the fall of what to do. The suggestion was to send our small truck over there, our ton truck, but they're so busy with that truck in town here that it's gonna take a good 45 minutes to an hour to get over there and back in a snowstorm. We just didn't have the equipment and time to run over there, so it was easier to contract it out. And Chris Roy had quoted $125 if he came in the lowest to do it for every 4 inches of snow. And that was not including the sanding. So when the big truck gets all done cleaning up over there, Peter just swings it and makes a loop or two around and kind of dusts up, you know, and sands it. So that's where we are with that.
so when Danny was doing it, whose budget was it in?
That was in fire, it was $500, yeah.
Then, okay.
I'd like to see us just push that over there. I don't think it'd be a big deal. I don't think that, yeah. Do we need to take a vote on that?
They have a little bit more control over it.
Do we need to take a vote on that?
No, I don't think you need to take a
No,
vote on
I
it.
think, let's just push it over to fire. We're not gonna talk about that tonight, so you can put it in there.
Right,
You okay with that? Okay. All right, so we need to lower, we don't need to do
It's not in
anything.
there.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
Well, I have just a comment. You'll notice that the amount went down about $1,000, and that's pretty much because of that, one of the adjustments was to the health insurance piece.
So going down to good things, Mr. Elias.
Can I ask what changed there with health insurance?
The estimation change. So I had estimated based on this year's numbers, adding 9%, which is what Maine Municipal Health
Yeah.
Trust said. And Heidi pointed out to me that she gave me a list of, these are the employees that we pay health insurance for, and they're gonna stay, the amount is gonna stay the same that we're paying this year into next year. So I plugged those numbers in instead of using the estimate.
Is this considerable a lot?
We have healthy individuals working for us. Not like the sanitary crew.
Right.
Boom.
What a second.
Tell Dale I'm not talking about him.
It's
I'll
on,
let him know.
it's on tape.
Oh, gee. All right, looking, for any other questions? Yes, sir.
I probably should know the answer to this already, maybe Heidi can answer it. In the public sector, is the workers' comp, does it have an experience modification, or is it just, it is what it is? In the private sector, your experience mod can reduce or increase your
And
premium.
that's what it is, and that's what we've actually been, what I've been trying to do this year, because we're part of a program that allows that to go down depending on the tier. So we were able to get that down, well, basically, we're at 2.5%. So we're working on getting that to 3% down, but even so, the rate actually has gone down for highway this year because the anticipated payroll was a lot less than it was actually, because we had such a mild winter.
So that wasn't an experience modification change, that was just a
That
practicality
was,
change?
yeah, that was a practicality, but we are working to get that down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor on the select board? All in favor, the motion carries to send $901,815.42 to town meeting. Mr. Duchamp, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Venziano. You heard the Board of Selectmen approving the total public works number. What's your pleasure?
I'll happily make a motion for a decrease in the public works budget of $901,815.42. Well done, Mr. Road Commissioner.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
A second.
A second? Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor? Mr. Venziano?
All right, move on to recreation. On page 7, all the way to page 8, bottom of page 8, and the town manager is recommending $567.08. Yeah. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were asking.
Nobody's on my hand. One of the biggest chunks in increase here is the ICMA match, which was not included in the previous budget. So when the recreation director was hired full-time, it was not anticipated. So anyway,
Yeah, but.
and he's not,
But if he's not taking insurance, the insurance rate's down,
the insurance rate is at 0.
right?
The health insurance is at 0, but the ICMA, you have $7,000 cash in lieu,
Right,
and you also have, or the in lieu match, and then the 6%. And the 6% is based on the 4% increase.
oh, okay, well, yeah, that's.
So,
All right, now for a motion from the board?
I'll make a motion that we do 154, 567, I'll make for the recreation department. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to send to town meeting $154,567.08 for total recreation. Mr. Rec Director, any comments, anything you'd like to point out?
Nope, no additional comments.
Okay. Any questions from the board, either board? Yes, Mr. Lloyd.
Just an observation, in these economic times being what they are, and the news that come out that the Timber HP is actually filed for Chapter 11, we don't know where that's going. Hopefully the reorganization will take place and they'll be up and running for a long time. It just puts me in a mega conservative mode. And here we are looking at a $23,000 increase in this particular budget. And if you look back at some of the history, in 5 years, it's dangerously close to tripled. And I just, given the way things are right now, I have some anxiety about that. I wanted to express it out loud.
Is that because it was a part-time position and there were a lot of people volunteering before they made this position?
Well, I think there are a lot of people getting a stipend for doing things rather than one person being in charge of all of it.
So
And
looking
it's
at
it's a
looking at
different,
the year-end expenses
Right.
is a little bit difficult because we only have 1 year of this person
right.
being a
Yeah,
full-time
we don't
employee.
even have a full year yet, so.
Right.
We're, I mean, I don't know if you can compare those totals.
Well, year to year, you should be able to.
Well, it's a different position.
$23,000 difference year to year.
Yeah.
That's the first year with a full-time person.
Well, we're almost at the end of the first year, right? And we're budgeting for the second year, so it should be apples and apples.
It's gonna be classified for full-time, it's working by the hour,
Mhm.
and not full-time.
Well, that hasn't changed other than the 4% pay increase, right?
Right.
Well, you look at it, you've got the 4% pay increase.
Mm-hmm.
The total ER cost is what went up significantly. Everything else is either flatline or negative, has gone down. So the things that are pushing it up are the travel, the training, the dues. You know, the FICA has gone up a little bit, and then, like I said, the ICMA costs. I mean, some of those are, that's where the bulk of it is. And those didn't have budget lines before, including this past fiscal year. Or the current fiscal year we're in.
So was there any, I'm sorry, was there any training, travel that took place within this current fiscal year?
Yes,
If
that's,
so, where did that money come from?
it's gonna come from his bottom line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can I just point out too? We didn't have in the budget line previously, we didn't have ball field mowing and special projects, okay? That was not in the regular budget, even though there was something spent for special projects last year, it wasn't in the actual budget itself. So you put that in there, which is fine, but that brings it up by 3,500 for itself.
I think
Compared to
in
before.
the special projects, we're looking at pest control.
Right.
We're looking at, you know.
I mean, I'm sure there's a reason
Yeah.
for it, and David can explain that probably if he wants to, but I'm
And
just
like
saying
the-
that it wasn't in the previous budget
Yeah.
line, but it's in this year's budget line.
Yep, and so when I came on, that was one of the first things that was going on, and that's happened every year. So that's why there was a new budget line added in, just because it's something that's always been happening to our ball fields. Every single year, as far back as I can ask, anybody can remember, we've done that. It just didn't happen so
It
long.
just wasn't aligned for it,
Correct.
and showed, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and not to belabor the point, but in spite of that, just because there wasn't a line for it, if it came from the bottom line, the comparison of total budget fiscal year 2025, 2026 still stands. It's $23,000. I've made all the noise I'm gonna make about that.
All right, looking for, all those in favor? All right, all in favor, motion carries, Mr. Duchamp?
You've heard the Board of Selectmen on total recreation, what's your pleasure?
I'm going to accept the $154,567.08.
Good, motion to accept the recommended amount of $154,567.08. Second?
Second.
Got a second, moved and seconded. Any further discussion or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? We have two opposed, all the rest in favor.
Thank you, Mr. Duchamp. All right, we'll move on to page 8, cemeteries. That's the bottom, and then on page 9. All right, so looking at a total of $52,575, sent to town meeting as proposed by the town manager. Looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the $52,575,000 for cemeteries.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the $52,575 sent to town meeting from cemeteries. Any questions on cemeteries? Anybody want to make any comments about what we're doing up there, or anybody have information on that?
How many years left on the mowing contract up there?
This is it right here.
This is the last
We
year.
put it out again. we got an RFP sent out on Monday, well, Tuesday, I guess.
I think the new one kicks in January.
Yeah.
And that's a 2-year contract, right?
Yes. All right, anything going on special up there, or, I don't wanna get too into the cemetery, but anything you need to share with anybody? Nope, we're all good, everything's good?
You're not looking for a spot, are you, Al?
No.
Hopefully not.
Knock on wood.
Capital.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
I would just like to say one thing.
yes,
As
Mr.
a
West.
resident of Kincaid Road, the cemetery on Kincaid Road is looking really good.
Oh, good, that's
From
Bob,
last year's pickup.
that's Bob Bishop, I believe. And,
It's dramatically improved.
yeah, and we also hired, I guess let's explain that, what we did.
Heidi?
Would you like to explain about Kincaid, what's happened out there? Mr. Elias saying
Yeah,
how wonderful it is.
Was it Thomas?
Yeah, Thomas Restoration, Cemetery Restoration come out and they worked on the thing. It was actually money that was in capital for quite a few years. And we finally proceeded with getting the restoration done. And we hope to actually get more of the other smaller cemeteries looked at and hopefully get the same kind of restoration going in those so we can save the history of the town for years to come, so.
Great. Excellent. So what, do we have a idea of the next cemetery? I know it's not Forest Hill, but.
Well, no, we're still actually looking at it. We're actually waiting to see what is approved in the budget before we go making any choices.
Okay.
I know Jewett needs some work. I know Waco's needs some work, which is the one up on East Madison Road. I know River Road needs some work. A lot of them are smaller, under a quarter of an acre, so it's hard because a lot of the graves are unknown and the markers have been moved or destroyed. So we are looking to possibly get a new computer system that's going to map out the actual grave sites, and so we can get actual maps and things that we can make sure we don't lose our veterans and just basically keep the heritage of the town.
So anybody that doesn't know, we have Forest Hill Cemetery, and we have 10 to 12 others, right? Is that correct?
10 other ones.
10 other ones, and we've discovered that there's, I don't know, a rule or a law or whatever it is, that if there's a veteran there, we have to take care of that, and so we're putting an effort to get to that point to figure out what's there. And some of them are, I believe there's one that he has to take a four-wheeler to. I can't remember the name of it. Anybody remember?
Is that the Conjockety one?
I think so, yeah. So
Is that
you
where
can
the
drive
Steinmeiers live?
Yeah, Steinmeiers is Steinmeiers.
Isn't there one, I think there's one off where,
Barron's Corner, there's
Barron's
another one.
Corner, yes.
Yep,
There's one there, I think.
One across the road from my place.
yeah, that's the River Road one.
So,
And he works at the library, so I feel confident to speak to this, because he works with the landowners and asks for their advice. They're the ones who have the easements for him to get to those properties. Sometimes the same families live there and sometimes other families live there, and they appreciate the fact that, he'll go and talk to the landowners, and if they say, no, we've had a ton of rain, please don't go out there with your truck, then, he has to work his schedule around that in order to not completely destroy their property trying to get to those cemeteries.
yeah, does a great job with it. And Forest Hill has looked very good the last few years, so hopefully that will continue. Because not having Forest Hills mowed on Memorial Day is not a good thing.
Not out.
We put it in the RFP that it has to be, was it May 1st?
Well, there's a statute in the state of Maine for the cemeteries where anything that has, again, a veteran in it has to be cared for by May 1st through September 30th. Has to be mowed, or as long as the grass is over 4 inches.
Yep, that's good. All right, okay, so, seeing no other questions, all those in favor? All in favor, motion carries. Mr. Ducharme.
Thank you, Mr. Venziano. The select board has voted on their Their amount $52,575 for total cemeteries. What's your pleasure?
Move 52,575 on the cemeteries.
A motion for the recommended amount. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Any further comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, it is voted.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving over to community services. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Julie. Yeah.
I see the two burn marks right in your house.
Sorry, we'll do the library next. And
It's at 25 years,
recommending
expect that look.
$155,855.80.
Better approve that one really fast.
Is there a motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve
Oh, Brad, I don't need your
$155,855.80.
chair.
For library to send to the town meeting. Julie, would you like to comment on the library?
Anybody have any questions? No?
Where, maybe you might want to update on the ramp.
We, Cheyenne asked for some numbers and then completed the rest of the grant request herself. So the AARP flagship grant has been submitted as of March 5th. Yes.
So for those of you who don't know, the ramp at the library has gone way past its due date. So that's what they're working on.
It's 41 years old, it's crumbling, we're trying to fix the bridge part. The concrete that's set in the ground is still perfectly fine. Also trying to get a parking space on that side of the building because it makes no sense to have people with mobility needs have to park on one side of the building, walk completely around the library and up a ramp to get into the building. We'll know by mid-May whether or not we receive that $25,000 grant. I've asked for $25,000 to be put in capital in case we don't receive it, and also, even if we do receive it, we'd like to use some or as much of that capital that we need to complete the project, because once you get the emergency part of the project finished, the urgency to finish it the way it should be finished is gone. We really should have an automatic door. We should have a rigid awning over that automatic door so that there's, if somebody comes with a motorized wheelchair, they are standing with snow and ice dripping on their head, trying to get the door open and back their chair up at the same time. If somebody, I have a couple of people who have problems with grip strength with their hands, and they can't get the doors open when they're inside or outside. So it's not just for people with mobility issues, it's also an accessibility issue as well. So we're working on that, and other than that, we're doing okay. Just as a side note, I was looking through the list of wages, so I completely accept the decision of the board and acknowledge it as that's the way it's going to be. There are 4 people that have been hired for town positions after me that are currently being paid more than I am being paid. And if we only ever get cost of living increases, those 4 people will always make more money than I do. That's why I did the request for $2 more an hour instead of 1. I'll accept the 4% raise because that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, but that's the reasoning behind that. I've been at the library, if anybody doesn't know, 25 years, 13 in the head librarian position. So I love it. I sometimes hate it. I love helping people, and sometimes can't help them, but we try to direct them to where they need to go. We have a lot of people who use the library for many different reasons, not just books, information, tax forms, printing, help on the computer, help figuring out where they're supposed to go for their next, for something. It's a real jewel. The building is a real jewel, and I'm grateful that we're working on replacing that ramp because we need to keep going and keep that library in good condition.
And everything inside is good, we did the windows, when you got some grants for the windows. and
We
windows
did the dome windows were restored and the dome exterior and interior trim was painted. The roof has been replaced. The main floor windows were replaced in 2006. Some of the basement windows were replaced. At least 2/3, well, at least a half, close to 2/3 of the exterior basement has been excavated and sealed. Jeff knows all about that. So we're getting close to checking those major projects off the list. The ramp is really the last one. And we need to be ADA compliant as a town building. So there'll always be something. Hopefully it won't be $50,000 every time.
Just so, oh, okay, go ahead. Tell me.
Well, I had a correction to the sheet. So, when I was going through this today, I failed to update the salary line or the personnel line on Madison Public Library. And at 4%, it should be, personnel should be 82,711.2. 82,711.20, bringing that line total to $84,271.20. And the full budget line on page 10 to $153,567 even. Last line, 153,567, even.
Right. Motion, all right, second, all right. Mr. Lloyd.
Julie, is the ramp, the $25,000 grant, if you get it, you think gets you out of the current trouble, and then the other 25 will bring it, do some of the aesthetic
The
issues?
very rough estimate that they
Okay.
gave someone on my library subcommittee from the building committee was for the bridge part of the ramp and a rigid awning,
Mhm.
about 25,000. We don't
Okay.
have hard numbers.
Right,
We will obviously get those, but we had to have some kind of estimate to submit that grant.
understood.
If it goes below that, the automatic doors are about $5,000 a piece. Obviously, we only need one right now. We're looking to have a parking space on that side. We'll need signage. We need a paved parking space and the walkway from the parking space to the concrete walkway all have to be paved. Gravel is not going to work for anybody, whether they have a motorized wheelchair or they're walking with a walker. Jeff Drew had actually suggested a lift instead of a ramp, and he sent me a couple of pictures, and they look beautiful, of course. And then I showed them to my trustees on Tuesday afternoon, and I asked one of my trustees who uses a walker to get in and out of our building safely, and I said, I don't want to offend you, and he said, I'm not offended. I said, I just want to know from a person who uses this to get into the building safely. Would you prefer something like this picture that's a lift with a long walkway, or would you prefer the ramp? And he said, leave it the way it is. I think it's going to work best the way it is. So knowing that, we might have to cut down. Jeff came over and, for clarity, we're being recorded, Jeff Wright came over from Highway and measured out. We might have to take the tree down on that, a small tree, it's probably 30 years old or so, and kind of beat up. There's not a ton of room. We could probably get one handicap spot with the perimeter. If you have a van, if you have somebody who has a van that they need to get their wheelchair out of, it has to be wide enough. You can't just drop them on the grass and hopefully they can make it to the concrete. There are no cut-throughs on the sidewalk on the Pleasant Street side, So anybody who uses the Pleasant Street side parking, which is all on-street parking, has to park, get their walker or wheelchair out of the building, walk all the way in the road, all the way to the end of the sidewalk, and get onto the sidewalk at the corner. So it just makes the most sense. If we have money left over, then we'll obviously use that money first. We always use grant money first before we use town money. But we have a few other projects that we're looking at for the 1, 3, 5 years down the road with the building committee, and capital money you can roll over, and regular budgeted money, even if it's building maintenance, we can't roll over, we can't carry it forward. So that's why we're asking.
So
for that.
even though it's unlikely the budgeted 25,000 will get spent this year, your intention would be to roll it over?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And to certainly use it only for building maintenance.
Yeah.
We have carpeting issues, we have lighting issues, we have furniture that has to be replaced. We are very frugal, because if the furnace breaks once, a huge chunk of our building maintenance money is used. So we fix nothing until spring, and then we run around like crazy people trying to find something to spend that money on, because we can't roll it over.
Yeah,
But
understood.
in capital, we'll use it for what it's meant to be used for, library maintenance.
Thank you.
Well,
So, just so everybody knows, last year, I believe, we asked Plymouth Engineering to do a study for us, and they went through all of our town-owned buildings, and they come up with some things we need to do, and this ramp is on the list, kind of high on the list. And there are other things in the town office, and I believe in East Madison, we're pretty well caught up with stuff. And we put together a building committee, just to look at what we can do and how we can raise money to do some of these things. I mean, at the town office, we have, Sean probably can talk more, Mr. Bean can probably talk more about it, but we have issues with electricity. We have more technology than we have electricity for, so I mean, we are way behind. And, I mean, we're also behind the fire department, because you have those pillars, and we're inches away from taking the pillar out. It's just a matter of going one way or the other, and we're gonna take it out, and the fire trucks don't seem to get smaller. So we have some issues, and Sean can probably talk about it more than I can, but, or we can just move on.
What they do is, we got major cracks in the floor of the fire station too, because the trucks are so heavy now. It was built in 1955, and the trucks are way over what the capacity for that concrete was poured in.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for $153,567 for the library. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those on the select board in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Mr. Duchamp?
Thank you, Mr. Venziano. In total library cost, you've heard the decision of the selectmen. What's your pleasure?
Move to accept the decision. I'm not sure I have the correct amounts, $153,567, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded.
Who seconded?
I did.
Any further discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor? Mr. Meek?
Okay, let's move on to community programs. Total community programs, the town manager is recommending $50,300. Looking for a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Wait a minute, all right.
You want to do?
All right, I gotta go to the bottom, I'm sorry, yep. Total community services, $106,575.
I'll make a motion for $106,575 for total community services.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second for $106,575 for community services. Any questions? Mr. Lloyd?
Just a curiosity question, why is the general assistance, rent assistance line overspent? Might be a stupid question.
Well, we've had, I'm let the town manager speak, but we've had a run of those.
It's just,
Just the way.
just
it
the way
is.
life is today,
I
yeah.
believe 75% is reimbursed, 70%
Okay.
is reimbursed.
That's fine, thank you.
All right, seeing no other questions, all those in favor? All in favor of $106,575 going to town meeting for community services. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. B. You've heard the Board of Selectmen's vote. What would you like to do on total community services?
Move $106,575.
Have a motion and a second for $106,575. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor? It's unanimous.
All right, so we're looking at town-owned property, page 10, going through to page 12. The town manager is recommending $42,245 for town-owned property. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move $42,245.
So,
All right, we have a motion and a second for $42,245 for town-owned property. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Bliss?
Do we know when the ice rink is gonna be next year?
I don't have that. Mr. Bean, do you know?
I thought so, we're gonna try to move it up in the green space, next to the playground. Yeah. you put it on
I'm
there.
sorry, Danny.
That's okay, I actually didn't hear the question anyway, so.
Correct, Danny?
I didn't even hear the question. What was it?
Where's the ice rink gonna be next year?
Okay, then yes, you are correct. It's gonna be right in that green space right next to the middle school.
In between the playground and the middle school.
Yep.
Kind of where the Christmas tree goes.
How do you
Well, I
deal
thought,
with,
just wanted to make sure.
how do you, not to push this too far, but how do you deal with the sewer drain that's there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be, we wrote a grant and we're going to be getting, it's called Easy Guys, but it's like it has walls, you put the liner within it, very quick, easy setup. So any water that, when it does melt, you can kind of control it slowly.
All sewer, good.
Slowly you can drain it, so that way it's not overloaded.
I know we have a plan for shack.
Yes, working on that. With, the plan is to,
That's a long way with that shack we have.
yeah,
That's a
yep,
long way to get there.
yeah, no, we plan on getting a new, like a warming cooling hut.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great, that's awesome.
They need to skate faster.
What's that?
They need to skate faster.
Yeah,
So they don't need to go inside?
No, I go home.
Oh, we like to socialize.
To
Do
expound
that
on
in the
that,
summer.
Danny, that's warming and cooling, it's cooling for the summer, it'd be a space from the playground top.
correct, as soon as it's there, it's not gonna be moved, so, I have a little cooling shelter as well.
So does this, I'm curious, does the ice rink, that get packed away every year and so we still have green space?
Yep.
Okay. We were talking at the Living Well meeting, and I won't take too much time about this, but we were talking about some activities for older adults to participate in. And one of the activities that I had suggested was there are always master gardeners that need their hours. And it would be nice, because I call the park One Tree Park. And we may only ever have one tree on each side. But it would be nice to have some plants, and it would be nice to have some native, plants that are native to Maine, also pollinator plants. But it would make sense to put the beds on the inside of the fence, far enough away so that they're, they're protected during the summer when kids are playing, but to still beautify it. So it's One Tree Park plus flowers.
Cheyenne mentioned that, in passing, and we can bring that up at our next meeting.
Okay. I was just hoping that the size of the ice rink, I don't know where it's going, so that's why I was asking.
I'll bring the details for you.
Thanks so much.
Could you update our librarian on One Tree Park and what we're gonna do with cleaning up the tree?
I hope nothing happens to that tree. There's gonna be no tree.
There's 2 trees there. There was 3.
There were 3 trees and the kids broke one.
That's right. So that crabapple tree that's in the middle of the playground has a huge infestation of brown tail moth.
Super. That's awesome.
So, Lynch Landscaping, once that tree starts budding out this spring, they're going to come up and spray it.
Good.
And it'll be in 2 applications, and it will be well marked and well signed for
It'll
it's
stay
being sprayed.
away.
And I do have the SDA sheet on it, if anybody would like to see them, and it's an all organic, natural spray.
Just kills them.
That kills them off, yeah.
Good. Yes, because in the spring, that tree is filled
Yeah.
with bees, and it needs to be, it's, you know, it's a huge pollinator.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for $42,245. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, motion carries. Mr. Chairman?
You've heard the Board of Selectmen on the total town-owned property. What's your pleasure?
I'll move to accept the $42,245 for common property.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Is there any further discussion or questions?
I've got just a comment for Annie. You know when the last time that was any bark that was put in that playground?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's been a few years. I don't know if you guys want to think about that. I know in the years past, it's some type of a special bark that's treated.
Jeff Drew would know, because he worked with some kids that had community service, and I don't know if it was this past year or
Okay.
the year before.
A couple of years.
But it has to be 1 inch of bark per height, and
Right.
I think that the highest structure is 8 foot, so they need a total depth of 8 inches.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, we haven't voted yet.
All right.
Any further discussion?
Do you have a second on that motion?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
There's no further comment, since you're ready to vote. All those in favor? All in favor?
All right, so at this point, I'm going to ask us if we're interested in adjourning. Coming back on the 16th of April to talk about capital, talk about public safety, and any other, and we'll see about the wording article, which is the advisory board doesn't do. The capital, the fire chief isn't here, and the fire department isn't here, they don't want to do it without him. So we have gone through just about everything except for public safety, which we'll do then. Anybody okay with that? Are we good with it?
And you don't want the monthly meeting on Monday night the
I don't
31st?
I don't think we need to. I
Okay.
think we can do it all on the 16th, and finish on the 30th. Yeah.
So you're not doing, okay, so no Monday, the 31st.
Yeah, the 16th.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Is that okay?
That's at 5:30.
Who has a meeting? On the 16th? On the 16th?
It's not,
Well, we're gonna have to leave that Madison Anthony meeting, the budget. What else?
We're talking about Madison.
the other committee I waited 2 months, go on June 6th.
Yeah, I thought so.
Is that okay with everybody?
April 16th at 5:30.
April 16th at 5:30. All right, looking for a motion to adjourn. Second, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. And we have comments, we have the list of things for what we need to finish up. And we'll take a look at that in the, him and I and Diane, I can take a look at that, make sure we're going in the right direction.
So I had fire department, capital, and was there something else?
Capital, fire department, not fire department, but public safety.
Public safety,
Public
sorry.
safety. And then the articles,
Public safety.
the wording articles. Okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you very much, and a motion to adjourn, all those in favor?
All in favor, the motion is carried. We are adjourned at
I had no opposed
6:38.
concerns, right?
I just want to.